Approval of minutes, please.
Make the motion for approval of minutes for the town board meeting on Thursday, January 23rd, 2020.
Second. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Potter?
Aye.
Councilmember Senecal?
Aye.
Councilmember Ganser?
Aye.
Councilmember Wenzel?
Aye.
Supervisor Tucci?
Aye. Town clerk's report?
Total local shares submitted, $2,008.44. Total non-local revenues, $115.41. Total state, county, and local revenues, $2,123.85.
Thank you. Payment of claims, please.
Town of Dwaynesburg cash requirements per fund. Fund A from NBT General Fund MM to NBT accounts payable, $68,977.89. Fund B, General Fund B, from NBT General Fund MM to NBT accounts payable, $23,072.72. DA Fund, NBT General Fund MM to NBT accounts payable, $29,915.89. DB Fund from NBT General Fund MM to NBT accounts payable, $28,297.97. Sewer District Number 1 from NBT Sewer District 1 to NBT accounts payable, $10,815.25. Sewer District Number 2 from NBT Sewer District 2 to NBT accounts payable, $15,007.83. Sewer District 3 from NBT Sewer District 3 to NBT accounts payable, $3,807.17. Total transfer amount, $179,894.72.
Second. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Potter?
Aye.
Councilmember Ganser?
Aye.
Councilmember Senecal?
Aye.
Councilmember Wenzel?
Aye.
Supervisor Tucci?
Aye. Alright, committee reports. Before we get into any committee reports, two announcements. One, I'm sorry to mention at the beginning of the meeting, the town board will be going in an executive session afterwards for legal advice of counsel. And second is, before we start anything, Lieutenant Rossi is here from our local sheriff's department. I see he has a few minutes. Do you have anything for us at this time, or just to say hi?
Just say hello.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you guys.
Yep. Highway committee.
Okay, for highway, today one of our big trucks broke down, truck 17, the transfer case flew up in it, so that's gonna be down for a while. They finished putting the dirt, the sewers over in the park, and the chipper was down. They fixed the chipper, and that's up and running now, so that's all Bill had for me.
Okay. Public safety? We have nothing going on now. Bill? Nothing? No. We haven't any meetings, so quiet on that front. Park committee.
We had a meeting a week ago Tuesday. We discussed some more about the summer parks program. One thing that I learned was there is a percentage of the people who attend that are from Princetown. They're billed back a percentage of the total cost, so they're anticipating revenue coming in from them for that. We also talked about a service day to be done at a couple of the parks, not all coordinated yet, but Gene will be meeting with the National Honor Society contact at the school within the next few days, and some of the students are aware of it and they're enthused to be involved with the cleanup project. And I also gave her a contact. I got a contact for a Boy Scout troop, no longer in Waynesburg, but close by, right in Esperance. And they too will be contacted to see if they want to have a youth service project to do some of the cleanup work. That's about all.
Thank you, sir. Sewer districts.
I met with the team this morning. Got an update where
We're waiting on DEC's written inspection report from their visit last month. The verbals back from the inspection were all good. Just waiting on the written report. Usually we get that within 30 days. District 2, the I&I water infiltration inspections will be starting up soon, with permitting, of course. We continue to have those chronic problems with rags and wipes being flushed into the sewer system, which fouls up the grinder pumps. It's becoming more of a problem as our grinder pumps are getting older. The parts are older and they're failing more. Dale's going to draft another letter, once again reminding folks that this can't be done. And I advised him in that letter to first do an estimate of what we spent last year in maintenance and pump replacements, and to include that in the letter, and to make the point that their taxes are higher because we have to charge you to fix all this equipment that you folks keep breaking. So he said he would put something in the letter along those lines. The program that we use, that the building department uses to track inventory, called CUPS, was actually a recommendation from the EPA's website. The free program worked out great, but like all good things that are free, it's going away at the end of 2020. Or whatever the next Windows upgrade is, because beyond Windows 10 they're not going to do any more updates to it. So Dale is looking at some possible replacement programs, again, programs that the EPA recommends. He's looked at two of them so far. One was $50 and one was $7,500. The $50 one obviously doesn't do enough for us, and the $7,500 one would be great if we had like 200 employees. So he's going to keep looking. They have a list of them. We just got to go through and figure it out. We got some time. We got till the end of the year to replace it. So they brought up the fact that they would like to purchase another set of disc filters for the plant. We bought a set of those back a few years ago, as the ones that we had were aging. So now we've got this newer set, and then now we have the older set. And the older set is, gradually failing. They've had to toss out almost half of them because they've torn or worn out or whatever. So they've asked if we can purchase another new set and phase out the ones that are actually 10 years past life expectancy. The issue there is it's not cheap. It's like 10 grand to purchase a new set of filters. So, I said to him, I don't know if we'll be able to do that in our current budget. We'll have to take a look at things. I said if it comes down to the fact that we need to budget it for next year, can we make do with what we have? And they said that they could. They would just like to have the new one.
Yeah.
So it's not an urgent thing. We can see how the year unfolds. If we got the money, maybe we can get them sooner, but if not, we'll budget for them for next year. Asking about how do you spell the word, cover for the pickup truck? Tonneau?
Tonneau?
Yeah. Asking about a tonneau cover for the new service truck, the new service vehicle.
Corey mentioned to me, I asked him to get prices.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of said the same thing to him. They're going to be carting around that tripod that they're going to be using to lift the manhole covers up, and just other tools, shovels, things like that. It sits in the back of the truck out in the weather, and if it snows, rains, whatever.
They're not very, they're a couple $100 at the most.
Right. I guess he looked at two of them. One was, it's almost like the software. So one was like 300 and another one was 2,000.
Yeah, we're not going to go to 2,000.
That's what I told him. I said, see if maybe they have something in between there.
Yeah, there's plenty.
So I just wanted to bring that up. Everyone thought it was a good idea. I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Right. So I'll let them know we're investigating a little more prices.
Yes.
I don't want to have on my truck. It was only a few $100. I've had it for years. So. Okay. Roger and I met with the Duane Lake Association Tuesday, January 28th, along with representatives from Delaware Engineering, Mary Beth Bianconi and Bill Brown, and it was about potential sewer system up and around Duane Lake to protect the water supply up there. There is some grant money that looks like it's going to be available, and the state actually thought we'd be a good candidate for it. They asked us to kind of be a model for that grant money. I think it was like $3 million, I think, wasn't it? So we just got, they got a bunch of their residents together and Delaware Engineering did a great proposal explaining the whole thing, how the funding would work, how to apply, all that. So, since then, the directors of the Lake Association have sent out a survey to their residents to get feedback, to be sure that they're all on board, that they have any questions, things like that. They started getting those results back in. The board meets toward the end of this month. By then they should have this feedback and they'll kind of give us the thumbs up, thumbs down on are we going to try to pursue this or not. It seems like a really great opportunity because of funding. However, it still isn't cheap. It's much cheaper than other plans that we had put together that were going to be like $4,000 a household. This one would bring it down to around $2,000, but it's still a lot higher than we typically see, which is like $1,000 a year. But it's still, like I said, it still cuts the price in half, so it still could be a very good opportunity. So we'll see how that unfolds as we go. Deadline for submitting an application to that program is in July. So got a little bit of work to do to get ready for that. So, got to redo their engineering report. They had done one for prior potential plans, but that has to be redone. So Delaware will be doing that for us. I think that's it.
Jeff, anything to add? Mr. Brown?
Not much more to add than that. On the, switching gears a little bit though, on the Lansing wastewater plant, the long-term improvements there, which are funded with districts 1 and 3. I'm working on the design there. They will have an invoice coming out later this month. We'll probably present that at the next board meeting. Trying to position to get the design done, the first half of the year, so we can get DEC approval, get it built. The completion date is the end of next year for the long-term improvements, so we'll position ourselves for that. And yeah, on the Dwayne Lake project, and we're just kind of waiting for some survey results. We had some correspondence with Mr. Knight, some of the questions that have been coming in to try to answer those as best we can, and see what folks want to do up there.
Yep.
And then if it looks positive, if there's a positive response, updating the engineering report, initiating seeker, a district formation proceedings, likely not going through with that, but at least starting the process so we can show that it's been initiated in the grant application that would go in, so towards the end of July, and then you wait 5 or 6 months, and then in December, they make announcements.
Yeah, I think looking at that presentation again, we'll take seeker was slated for like April.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
This April?
Yeah.
To start the process.
Yeah.
We probably
Yeah.
wouldn't look to make, do a neg deck or anything, but at least start the process, start the district formation process, hold a public hearing, and then, kind of be on pause while the application's in, and then once it hopefully comes back favorable, if the town chooses to go ahead with it, then you have a year to get all your ducks in a row, and to finish seeker, to finish district formation. The comptroller's office would be involved with that rate structure likely, to get their sign off.
Right.
The grant program would cover in the range of half of the costs, and then the other half likely would go through EFC for the loan program. So establishing the financing for the loan half would be the following year, and then the year after that is when potentially we would build it.
Yep.
It involved a combined sewer system, more or less, right? With the septic, it would be like a shared septic system?
Yeah, or, everybody's wastewater would be collected, and then instead of it going to a plant, it would go to a large septic system.
So does the town own land down here?
No, there's
No.
a few pieces of large parcels are in that area that the Dwayne Lake people know the neighbors, so they're gonna approach them to see if they're interested in selling.
Right. That would be part of the project, and that a lot of times ends up being kind of the tricky part is finding land, especially in this case, it would be for a relatively large, leach field, so, 8, 10, 12.
There's an ideal spot there that.
There's a couple of undeveloped areas, it's whether they become available.
Well, I think the owner would be in support of it.
But, yeah, that'd be great.
I'll talk to you, I know what you're talking about, I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some updates, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, Roger and I were talking to Alan Knight the other day, and we mentioned that it's more than just the residents wanting to okay it. You have to make sure that you can be able to cite this thing.
Right.
Because without being able to cite it, the whole thing goes away.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Anything else, Bill? Thank you. IT, John?
I talked about getting some training on website maintenance here, but that is on hold because we're still trying to finalize some personnel stuff here. We'll see in the business meeting, we get some changes there. Once we got our staff in place, we'll schedule that training. We had a broadband committee meeting on February 5th. I think the big news here is that the folks up on Mountain View and Arquette now have access to Spectrum. So keep marching along. The next joint project with Spectrum we're hoping might be over on Creek Road, but we're still waiting on details from Spectrum on that to figure out how that would work. In the meantime, Spectrum is focusing on getting the Scary Turnpike wired up. So folks, more and more are getting hooked up. We've heard about Verizon connecting more folks over in the western part of town, particularly along the Route 30 corridor. We have some folks that have gotten connected there recently. So that's the good news. The bad news is funding opportunities. We do need some funding help from the government in order to get everyone finally connected. There was a program that recently came out, the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund program, $20.4 billion in funding nationwide. They issued the phase 1 money of that, which was 16 of the 20 billion. And once again, Dwaynesburg is shut out. In fact, all of New York got shut out. Some weird thing where there was a Connect America Fund program a few years ago, and the money was offered to Verizon. Verizon declined it. Instead, they were issued that money through the New York program that the governor had announced. And for whatever reason, because the response was no to this $170 million from the Connect America Fund, we weren't eligible for this new funding money. It sounds crazy, but it's true. I actually have a copy of a letter from the New York State congressional delegation that was written to the FCC complaining about the criteria and how New York was unfairly shut out, because at the time that the original funding came out, we had no idea. There was no hint at all that if you decline that funds, we'd get shut out of subsequent funding. But we did. So another door got shut on us. But like I said, at least we've got New York's congressional representatives kind of fighting the FCC on that one. We are making waves, though. We have a letter. I have a copy of a letter here that I can share that was written by FCC Commissioner Jessica Rosenworcel that she sent to the other FCC commissioners that outlined the various problems that the government has with issuing funding money. And in that letter, Dwaynesburg is pointed out several times. So, I mean, we actually have national exposure here, where letters, so FCC representatives amongst themselves are actually referencing Dwaynesburg. So it's a direct result of the work that this board and that the committee has done to promote broadband funding here in town. So I thought that's a pretty cool thing. Maybe we can get that letter on our website or something. Yeah. One of her primary complaints was with the mapping situation. How, when the government looks at the maps that they have to see whether or not we're connected, they show all of Dwaynesburg as service. So we keep getting shut out of money because of that. That's because if one house in a certain block, they call them census block, if one house is served, they consider everybody served. So no one else can get it.
Messed up.
Yeah, it's messed up. And they know that. Congressman Tonkos knows that. We've been working with him on it. but it's got high level exposure with the SEC now. That something needs to be done about the mapping situation, because it's really terrible. And other than that, our next broadband committee meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, April 1st, 6:30, downstairs here at Town Hall.
Thanks, John.
Yep.
Any other committee stuff, any other discussions we need to have before next board meeting? All right, well,
I just want to bring something up about the comprehensive plan that's ongoing.
Sure.
I've been meeting with the planning board each month, last several months, as they go through the comprehensive plan, because they're revising that. And they're adding a new section to the comprehensive plan called infrastructure, and they've kind of bulleted like a half a dozen items: sewer, broadband, roads, water, electricity, trash and recycling. And they asked if perhaps the board could give them some feedback on maybe any vision or goals that we might have in any of those areas that they could include in the comprehensive plan. So we meet again next Thursday.
Okay.
So if you guys might just spend some time to think about it, if you come up with any ideas, maybe Roger and you and I can get together on it. But
Yeah.
things that we've talked about or ideas that you might have for three of them here. We can provide any feedback at all that would help them in writing up something for the plan. Their goal with the plan is to have a draft comprehensive plan that they can forward to the board here sometime in April. So that's pretty much on track at this point. That's it.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Moving to the business meeting then?
Make a motion to publish a public hearing notice on proposed local law number 2 of 2020, entitled "A Local Law Establishing a Date for the First Meeting of the Board of Assessment Review." Whereas Section 512, parentheses 1 of the New York State Real Property Tax Law provides that the Board of Assessment Review, parentheses bar, shall meet to hear complaints beginning on the 4th Tuesday of May, or such other date as is established by the governing body by local law. The date is commonly referred to as grievance day. And whereas Section 1-A of Section 512 of the New York Real Property Tax Law authorizes the town board to establish a first meeting date for hearing complaints to another date when assessor is employed by another assessing unit. And whereas the current assessor of the town of Duanesburg is employed by another assessing unit and has requested that the town of Duanesburg establish a date for bar hearings to commence on a date other than the 4th Tuesday of May. And whereas local law number 2 of 2020, entitled "A Local Law Establishing a Date for the First Meeting of the Board of Assessment Review," would repeal local law number 1 of 2002 and change the date for commencement of the bar hearings to the 4th Tuesday of May. Fourth Wednesday, thank you, of May. Parentheses, the proposed local law. And whereas local law number 2 of 2020 is hereby introduced, and whereas the adoption of the proposed law is a type 2 action under SECRA, now therefore be it resolved that each member of the town board has received the attached proposed local law attached here too, and be it further resolved that the town board directs the town clerk to publish a notice of public hearing on a local law in the Schenectady Gazette to appear once no later than 10 days before the date of the public hearing, which shall take place at the regular meeting of the town of Duanesburg town board at town offices at 5853 Western Turnpike, Duanesburg, New York 12056 on February 27, 2020 at 7 p.m.
Second. Any other discussion on it? Basically, our assessor, the assessor for several other towns, so it would be the date doesn't work, and we're allowed to move the date. So that's what it is, we have to do this law to allow us to move the date, to change the date of the bar. So, grievance day.
So Grievance day moving from the fourth Tuesday to the fourth Wednesday.
Simple as that.
Simple as that, yep.
Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Connor?
Aye.
Councilmember Senecal?
Aye.
Councilmember Ganser?
Aye.
Councilmember Wenzel?
Aye.
Supervisor Chipple?
Aye.
Make a motion to accept the Mariahville Fire Department Service Award Program certification of fire personnel that have earned the required points for 2019.
Second.
Alright, I'll read the points. It's always a fun time. Michael Baker, 59. James Barrett, 2. Randy Bong, 68. Scott Bukowski, 94. Matthew Bushnell, 79. Anthony Casso, 85. Robert Chandler Jr., 90. Ralph D'Onofrio, 71. Philip Engel, 1. Jameson Facto, 90. Seth Goldstein, 76. Walter Hederich, 95. Eric Horn, 53. Scott King, 104. Tammy King, 102. Allison Honorati, 1. Justin Panito, 90. Tyler Rogers Sr., 76. James Swarzadell, 19. Larry Breckenridge, 71. Gary Engel, 26. Ronald Krutz, 3. Kenneth LaBelle Sr., 80. Lawrence Lux, 67. Raymond Stone Jr., 70. James Weekly, 100. And that's it. This is something we do every year for the service award to announce who's accumulated points towards it for each year. Any other discussion on it? Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Ganser?
Aye.
Councilmember Connor?
Aye.
Councilmember Senecal?
Aye.
Councilmember Wenzel?
Aye.
Supervisor Chipple?
Aye.
Motion to accept Bill's Auto Parts, Inc. as a new vendor.
Second.
This is pretty straightforward. Our highway department needs Bill's Auto is a used auto facility, used auto parts facility. Whatever they needed, the highway department needed, they had it in stock. They weren't a vendor, so let's just add them as a vendor. Any other discussion? Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Wenzel?
Aye.
Councilmember Ganser?
Aye.
Councilmember Connor?
Aye.
Councilmember Senecal?
Aye.
Supervisor Chipple?
Aye.
Motion to do a budget transfer from budget line item 2801.01 in the amount of $4,000 to budget line item 71102.01.200 as a budget amendment for the purchase of a lawnmower.
Second.
Discussion on this, our lawnmower that we've been using that gets transported from park to park to park and buildings is, life expectancy is coming up on it. This mower is a used mower. The owner of the mower graciously let us use it the last part of last year. It's a beautiful machine, way under the actually valued amount. So we struck a deal with him, and we're using money out of our Parklands account that's designed for needs like this, and that's what it is. Any other discussion on it? Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Senecal?
Aye.
Councilmember Connor?
Aye.
Councilmember Ganser?
Aye.
Councilmember Wenzel?
Aye.
Supervisor Chipple?
Aye.
Make a motion to appoint Kara Avery as the building and assessment clerk.
Second.
Unfortunately, you can see in the next motion, our current human resource clerk, town supervisor clerk, will be leaving us due to personal reasons. So as you see in the next one, we'll be moving one person that works downstairs to upstairs, work from my office, and we interviewed and decided to appoint Kara Avery to that position to replace her. Any other discussion on it? Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Connor?
Aye.
Councilmember Ganser?
Aye.
Councilmember Senecal?
Aye.
Councilmember Wenzel?
Aye.
Supervisor Chipple?
Aye.
Motion to appoint Carmine Cervera as the Human Resources and Supervisor's clerk.
Second.
They just decided, Carmi has a ton of years of experience in that role, so she'd be very welcome to have her working upstairs with us. Any other discussion on it? Clerk call the roll, please.
Councilmember Ganser?
Aye.
Councilmember Connor?
Aye.
Councilmember Senecal?
Aye.
Councilmember Wenzel?
Aye.
Supervisor Chipple?
Aye. Any other business meeting matters? Okay, we'll open the privilege of the floor. A few new people here, anything, just please, if you guys make a comment or question, please just stand up and state your name and address. Anybody wish to speak?
Lynn Bruning, Dwaynesburg Road. Please include my statement in tonight's meeting minutes. The next Sensible Solar Summit is Monday night, the February 17th from 5 to 7 at Christ Church. The speaker is Jim Sullivan from Bennington County Regional Commission. In Vermont, the town selects sites of which they will allow solar to be on, and then they allow developers to come in with requests for qualifications. One of the sites that Jim was telling me about, they had cited as a town and agreed to, and once they announced that it was open for development, they had over 100 proposals come in. So the town is actually really in control of the quality of the developer and making sure that that developer fits and is doing what the town wants. It's a very different way than New York State does it, and I hope that you'll all come and join us and learn more about this approach for siting solar power plants. At the January summit, Tara Donadino of Capital District Regional Planning Commission, she provided a presentation on cost-saving information for municipalities through the LED streetlight program. She also spoke about how her organization did an analysis of Greene County, identifying sites of which were potential sites for solar. So that the county had an idea that these are the best sites to put solar on, and her organization provided that. It was the first time they've done such a thing, but they felt that that was a successful way of beginning to look at where solar should go. I've included her contact information, and I'd like it if the town would invite her to give a presentation on the LED streetlight program as a way to save money as well as their solar work. I'd like to submit a property maintenance violation on 13590 Dwaynesburg Road. At the September 19, 2019 Planning Board meeting, the resolution for Oak Hill Solar 1 and Oak Hill Solar 2 was read, edited, and approved. September 20th, 2019 was the first time the resolution was available to the residents. According to the video I filmed during that meeting, Ms. Bachner stated that a condition of demolition on this abandoned home was required within 2 months. The structure is still standing, is a blight to our community. And here's a typo for you, Jennifer. In fact, there's a rocking chair that has been left outside the property since September of 2019. It's right by the side of the road. I hope this lack of concern for Dwaynesburg zoning laws is not an indicator of Eden Renewables' continued quality of work. December 4th, 2019, Eden Renewables was issued a building permit to cut trees at 13590 Dwaynesburg Road. The permit does not include any conditions nor contain a limitation of tree clearing for 20,000 square feet. Resolution 3F does say, quote, "The project preserves existing on-site vegetation to the maximum extent practical and does not propose to clear cut all trees in a single continuous area of 20,000 square feet on the property." I bring this to your attention because the June 6, 2019 letter from Eden's engineer, EDP, to the planning board, Doug Cole references the cutting of 60,000 square feet of trees, and EDP states that it will do a minimal amount of cutting. I asked the town to be vigilant on the area of trees that Eden Renewable clear cuts. As planning board member Marty Williams has said multiple times, stormwater runoff on this is a problem on this site. The resolution for Oak Hill 2F, the planning board requested an updated planting plan and maintenance agreement. I'm wondering if Eden Renewables has submitted an updated planting plan and maintenance agreement, and if I can see that. The Board of Ethics posted a meeting announcements for February on the town bulletin board. It's my understanding Board of Ethics doesn't provide an agenda or record minutes. The town webpage for legal notices and public notices, its most recent entry is October of 2018. Is there a record available to the public of Ethic Board's meeting dates, times, and topic? And is this posted on the town website? And finally, I have not seen any meetings to address the solar moratorium and review of the solar law posted on the town website. Have there been any meetings, and where would the Duanesburg residents find this information?
Few answers to some of your questions and comments. The LED lighting,
Uh-huh.
a few years ago, they've been kind of dragging their butt. The county, we all joined in on the county on the consortium. That was one of the cost-saving things from the governor. I believe the last time I spoke to the county manager, they're starting to bring that part of it to light. It was the county group effort for the LED light
Okay.
to get the biggest bang for our buck. And we only have a few lighting districts, but yes, we do have LED light, or lighting districts. As for the solar meetings, I know nothing has been published and nothing has been done. I was hoping to have a meeting maybe end of this month, but probably early next month. It will be well publicized, you will be notified, and the other members that have been coming here, with your group, so that would just maybe it'd be out there. I really have no other responses.
Thank you.
Well, anybody else wish to comment or question? Yes, sir.
My name is Eric Allen, 18 Leaf Drive. I'd like to bring to attention of the town board what I have seen as substandard performance of the snow plowing in our neighborhood. One incident in particular comes to mind, January 19th. It was a snowstorm the previous day. It had pretty much stopped snowing by midnight. After 8 a.m., our street still had not been plowed. The county roads were bare pavement. It's somewhat difficult for me to speak to this firsthand because my primary feedback on this is from the person who is trying to plow or trying to clear my own driveway, and he's telling me he can't get to my house because the road hasn't been plowed and there was like half a foot of snow on it. I talked to him earlier today, and he said he'd be happy to prepare a statement to talk more about the conditions he is observing trying to get to my house. And it's not just this one incident, although this one was a pretty major one. It certainly does not seem reasonable to expect that we have to wait until 9 a.m. to be able to get out of the neighborhood. So I had done a search, or I put in a request just to find out whether there were any town ordinances about when the plowing is supposed to be done, what to reasonably expect. Nothing came back indicating that there's any ordinance, and I didn't see anything on the town website on this matter. So I'm wondering if an ordinance or guidelines need to be passed by the town board, or...
Where's your house? Where's your house?
18 Lear Drive, Sage Hill.
Okay.
Just past mine.
That's a good point, and you're absolutely right. I don't think there is anything that our highway superintendent, who's a separate, I'm not trying to pass blame, just trust me. He's a separate elected official. The town board has really no oversight other than budgetary and a few other matters. So when he plows and doesn't plow, sadly, it's on him. And I wish he was here tonight because he usually attends our meetings. Wish he was here tonight to hear so he can give us feedback and you feedback. Have you tried to contact Bill
Not
Reed?
directly, no.
When you have a moment, or maybe during the day, if you want to, call the highway garage and, talk to him and ask him, see what his feedback is, because he's responsible to you as a taxpayer and resident, just like we are. So, yeah. But yeah, that's something I never even had that thought or consideration. I just thought of if the town should have guidelines for what our highway department does, if we actually can do something like that. It's something we can definitely take a look at. And I appreciate your point. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Folks in the back, just here for school?
Yep.
I understand. Well, we understand. All right. Yes, Mr. Parker.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Mr. Wentzel, I'm sorry if you're on the Public Safety Committee and you didn't have nothing to report here tonight, and I'm wondering do you foresee next month you reporting anything? My concern, once again, is our fire department's consolidating. Have you heard anything about where the consolidation is going to be, when it's going to be, again, in our ambulance in town?
That will be discussed amongst us as a group, As far as my feedback on the committee, that's contingent on when we have a meeting with one of the fire departments or ambulance as a whole. I do not have the schedule with me, but we did not have any meetings since the last meeting, and that's why there was no updates and no feedback.
I understand. One last question, if you don't mind. Again, to public safety. Last month, the town board voted to hire a on-the-need basis of an assistant for our code enforcement officer. So it's been 3 weeks now, and I'm wondering if the new code enforcement officer, I would assume you have the code enforcement officer's report in front of you for this month. If you don't, has there been any citations or letters sent to any residents in this town with the new code enforcement officer about the continuous blight, any violation, either buildings falling down or 5 cars being unregistered, anything? I'm just wondering if our new code enforcement officer has done anything since he's been hired.
That's not really a public safety matter, it's a town board issue.
It's a public safety matter. It revolves with buildings falling down, it's public safety. That's what the state says, I'm sorry.
With all due respects,
Yep.
that's semantics, and we could be here a long time to discuss semantics. Technically, it does not fall under the guise of public safety. It has to do with building codes.
So how should I address the board with this in the future?
Just ask the question.
I just did, and it's not being
Well, just the
answered.
way you addressed it to them, they're just answering how you addressed it, but the answer to your question is he just started, he didn't start day one after we hired him. And he's the deputy code enforcement officer and assistant to our building inspector because of his vast experience. So we told him the first few times he works for us to start going through our laws and zoning ordinance so he's familiar with them, and to work with Dale Warner to familiarize himself with this town. But nothing new has happened, but in the future as complaints come in, things will happen. It's going to alleviate time for Dale Warner to spend time on other things and for this person to be more in depth with his findings. But nothing at this present time. Anybody else? I make the motion to go into executive session. Any discussion? Clerk call the roll, please.
Supervisor Triple?
Aye.
Councilmember Potter?
Aye.
Councilmember Ganser?
Aye.
Councilmember Shanafo?
Aye.
Councilmember Butler?
Aye. I'm sorry, executive session for advice of counsel. Thank you, folks.
Good night.
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day. Pastor, and I don't get any roses this year either, I'm sorry.
You don't want
My
me to
wife
give
gets
you
my
any
wife
roses?
gets jealous.
Yeah, okay, I won't do